The next thing we need to consider is that there are lots of people engaging in communication in each cultural area. So within that cultural area, which we'll call a cultural field, there is a field in which cultural practices are expected to be similar. And you belong to many cultural fields. I would like you to think about what cultural fields you feel comfortable in. Where do you have cultural literacy? And so in these cultural fields, there are, as I said, all these people communicating, and everybody is not really standing on the same level. We have differences within our cultural fields that, and our position within our cultural field is part of how we negotiate that culture. And we are given certain possibilities for communication because of our position, and then certain possibilities are cut off for us because of our position. So in this place, we get to thinking a little bit about linguistics, which has a concept, the concept of binaries that we want to think about. We often in Western culture see that things are either one thing or they're another. And if they're one thing, they can't be the other. Like, if you're black, you can't be white. If you are a man, you can't be a woman. I'm not saying that these are actually true. These are tropes that we have understood that have been part of Western culture for a long time. And we look for them. If we look for, this is not that. That is not this. So think about some of that. Think about where you see difference in terms of there's one or another, and that they do not overlap. Well, we're going to then, as we go through the course, think about those differences differently. And what we're just getting started. We're going to look after after you watch these videos, then you should look at the news story that I posted for you all to read about the shipwreck of a whole bunch of boys on an island in the South Pacific. And it will talk about the culture that they create. Then we will discuss that culture that they created in terms of the concepts that I have introduced. So we have communication as a set of practices designed toward making meaning. We have culture as an entity that brings together all of those practices. We have cultural literacy, that is our ability to negotiate different cultures. And we have binaries. Maybe we have something that we believe is one way that can't be another way. And we have cultural fields, the place that culture is, that communication is practiced and culture is built. So think about that article with those concepts in mind, and when you write about that article in the threads on Slack, I want you to talk about how we could apply these concepts that I have talked about today. And I also want you to think about how that text, which is actually a written text, relates to other texts that you know about. And in this class, we're going to talk about texts. Some of them will be the written kind, articles and books, but they're also anything that is designed in an attempt to create meaning. You can read as a text. You can read a painting as a text, a news program, a conversation between you and your best friend, the way you set up your living room, just about anything. The way I interacted with my donkeys, you could read that as a text. This you can read as a text. So text is a really flexible concept that may be expanding beyond the way you have used the word text before. So what other texts can you see a relationship between the story of the boys shipwrecked on the island and any other texts that you know about? Because we also understand the way texts communicate to us based on our knowledge of other texts. So texts read in together, and we call that intertextuality. So we want to start looking for intertexts. And that's all for now. We'll talk to you later.